Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to another day of the Clarence Bug Show. It looks like another inclement weather day edition of the Clarence Bug Show, but we made it through yesterday. We will likewise make it through this day. Well, didn't take long. We knew it wasn't going to be long, and as usual, they have not failed to disappoint. In the wake of this horrific mass shooting in Colorado, Democrats once again are in full gun control mode, not able to exploit it for any racial hate angle. They decide, as they normally do, we're not going to let a good crisis go to waste. We're going to politicize this puppy, and in the interest of keeping you all safe, we will once again seek to subvert your constitutionally guaranteed rights. I found it interesting yesterday watching the Democrats' response to all of this and their incessant drumbeating of the gun control issue. When President Joe Biden yesterday called for an assault weapons ban, what was interesting to me about this is that he admitted in his comments that the investigation is nowhere near complete, so we really don't know yet what the reaction should be. However, he said, quote, "While we're still waiting for more information, I don't need to wait another minute, let alone another hour, to take common sense steps that will save lives in the future, and urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act. We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country once again. I got that done when I was a senator. It passed. It was a law for the longest time. Actually, it was only 10 years, but I digress. And it brought down these mass killings. We should do it again." Well, first and foremost, you are letting President Biden this rule by decree go to your head. This is a constitutionally guaranteed right. And I know up until date, you have said, to hell with the legislative process, I'll just make law with my pen. We don't need no Congress, we don't need no discussion. I am the king. I'll just sign it into law. Well, that's one thing. But I also found it very interesting that following the assault weapons ban, 1994 to 2004, he claims it brought down these mass killings, quote, unquote. Well, not so fast, Mr. Prez. A federal agency, the Department of Justice, ring a bell? There's an organization in the DOJ called the NIJ, the National Institute of Justice. And after the 2004 assault weapons ban expired, they did a study. The Washington Times quoted University of Pennsylvania professor Christopher Coper, author of this report from the National Institute of Justice, saying, quote, "We cannot clearly credit the ban with any of the nation's recent drop in gun violence. And indeed, there has been no discernible reduction in the lethality and injuriousness of gun violence." Of course, it's not the first time that these folks have lied to us, and we all know it's not going to be the last time that they lie to us. But what really stands out, among a number of other things, is the hypocrisy involved here. You realize that the folks that are always pushing the gun control agenda, y'all don't need assault-style weapons, and y'all certainly don't need Americans, automatic weapons, and yet the Nancy Pelosi's of the world pushing this agenda, the Joe Bidens, the Kamala Harrises of the world pushing this agenda, they all have personal private security that carries what? Automatic weapons and AR-15s. So let me be sure I got this right. I'm not good enough to be afforded the constitutional right to protect myself the way I see fit. You ban me owning these weapons, but you get to own them for your security detail to protect you. Hypocrite much? Of course now, you ought to be used to that by now. I mean, it's what they do. Think about it. Immediately upon taking office, the Biden administration told y'all, you Americans don't need no wall to keep people out, to protect yourself. And what did they do? At the same time, they're tearing down the wall to protect regular folks. They build a wall around the people's house to keep us out. One set of rules for thee, another set of rules for me. They tell us we don't need troops down at the border, try to keep people out that, could do us harm and wreak havoc in the country. Y'all don't need no troops for that. And at the same time, they turn around and put troops outside the Capitol. One set of rules for thee, another set of rules for me. Of course, now, again, it's not the first time. The Democrat solution is to punish law-abiding citizens. You can't own what I say you can't own. But at the same time, while they punish or seek to punish law-abiding Americans, the Vice President of the United States of America last summer encourages people to donate to a bail fund to get criminals who were rioting and looting released from jail. Punish the law-abiding folks that only want to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and protect themselves and their families the way they see fit. Punish them, but let's hold a fundraiser to get the criminals out of jail. What may be the most insulting of all of this is that you get to pick up the tab for it. You never thought about this, had you? The Democrats don't want you to own an AR-15, an assault weapon, but they have them. All their security details carry them. Who do you think pays for that security? Who do you think pays for the high-powered weapons that their security has? You do. That is the moral equivalent of spitting in someone's face and then charge them for the napkin that you hand to them to wipe it off their face. Well, that's an administrative cost. Napkins cost money. That is the moral equivalent of spitting in someone's face, and then you want to charge them to use the napkin to wipe it off. I guess it's true in hindsight. You get the government that you voted for. Hypocritical beyond belief. Adding insult to injury, we're going to take your rights, but you'll be happy because you get to pay for us to keep our rights. Tell you what, Ms. Pelosi, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and the rest of y'all libs in Congress, tell you what, when you decide you're going to give up and pay for your own security and all they carry is a 6-shooter revolver, then come back and we'll talk. When you decide you're going to restart construction of the border wall to keep Americans out and tear down the wall that you say we don't need, that you put up around the Capitol, come back and we'll talk. When you decide that you are going to relax COVID restrictions on people here legally and start testing the tens of thousands of folks walking across our borders, endangering super spreaders, then come back and we'll talk. Until then, shut the hell up. We don't have nothing to talk about. We don't have a thing to talk about. But they're going to continue to lie to you. They're going to continue to gin you up. They're going to continue to tell you falsehoods. Oh, we passed the assault weapons ban and the murder rate dropped. That ain't what the federal government says. Oh, wait, you're a part of the federal government. You didn't get the memo? But as sad as all of this is, what's sadder still is the number of y'all that's going to swallow this malarkey, hook, line, and sinker. I keep hoping one day the real American within us will awaken. At this point, just hope it's not too late. First break of today's show. Talk about Louisiana and Louisiana/related news up next on the Clarence Bugg Show. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf & Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
The first big sale of the year is here. The Dream Garage Spring Event is underway at Team Honda. For the first time ever, get $12.50 customer cash on every new 21 Passport, or get 0% for 60 months on every new 21 Pilot at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bud Show. Looking closer to home, good news in the education community, at least as far as COVID-19 and inside the classrooms concerned. This week, our state's school board, the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, more commonly known by the acronym BESE, announcing that because of new guidelines from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, we will no longer require social distancing of 6 feet in a classroom. Instead, it will now be 3 feet. A statement issued from BESE this week reads in part, in response to updated guidance issued recently by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention regarding COVID-19 related distancing recommendations for schools, BESE President Sandy Holloway has approved revisions to the state's minimum COVID-19 health and safety standards for Louisiana school facilities. Effective immediately, the revisions to the standards remove the specific physical distancing requirement of 6 feet and insert the provision that distancing requirements shall be in accordance with the current Louisiana Department of Health guidelines as informed by the CDC. It is another small incremental step in what many are hoping will be a return to normalcy. Whether or not that all holds, only time will tell. But certainly, I would think it's going to be a welcomed relief for school-aged children, many of whom have suffered disproportionate effects of COVID-19. I guess in an unprecedented situation like this, you never really take the time to put a whole lot of thought into the importance of socialization for children. I mean, until last year, none of us, particularly children, had ever gone through a period of time where you were pretty much isolated from not just school activities, but all social activities. And while I am hoping that I'm desperately wrong about this, I don't think we're going to see the full-blown effects of this until much later down the road. Depending on how long all of this lasts, we may be able to mitigate some of the effects, but it cannot be a good thing for young people to be just totally cut off from other young people. And again, it's probably just going to be a matter of time before we start to see the full-blown effects of this. Hopefully, parents, teachers, administrators, support personnel will all be on the lookout for signs, and we can mitigate the impact of whatever will be the after effects down the road of this complete lack of socialization among our young people. Speaking of a small return to normal, it is now official, the happiest man in all of Baton Rouge this day is my dear friend Paul Arrigo, President and CEO of Visit Baton Rouge. That is because yesterday, for the first time in over a year, a cruise ship docked here in Baton Rouge. The American Jazz, a ship that is part of American Cruise Lines, pulled in to Baton Rouge, offloading customers, I don't know, what would you call boarders? Passengers. There you go, Marty. That's why you make the big bucks. Unloading passengers for a stay in Baton Rouge. Now, there is a little, as you might expect, drawback to it, a downside, for lack of a better phrase. The cruise ships that are docking here, like just about everything else, they are carrying a diminished capacity because of social distancing and the like. They can't fill up a ship like they normally would. So when the ships pull into Baton Rouge, it is with a reduced number of passengers. But either way, in a state like Louisiana, a city like Baton Rouge, where the hospitality industry has just been absolutely crushed by the lockdowns, we'll take it any way we can get it. And if by chance you are in the capital region and you happen to see people, and y'all accept this in the spirit that it's given, if you happen to see people that clearly ain't from here, you can tell them. You can tell the people that ain't from here. Make them feel welcome so that when they return home, they will let their friends know, man, I just took a cruise and, you know, it was a little inconvenient because of social distancing and not used to having all the people that, you know, were around. But, man, I got to tell you, we stopped in Baton Rouge and talk about had a good time. Man, the people there are just something else. It's true what they say about Louisiana people. So be on the lookout for them. Again, they're easy to spot. If you can't spot them just by looking, once you talk to them, give them 3 or 4 sentences, and it's confirmed they ain't from here. Make them feel welcome. I would consider it a personal favor, and I know my dear friend, I almost called him the nickname Paulie Walnuts. Paul Arrigo would consider it a personal favor as well. We also had something revealed yesterday that most of us also knew was coming. F. King Alexander now officially out at Oregon State University. The payout, it is reported, for this mutual parting of ways, wink, wink, amounts to $670,000. That amounts, let me give you some perspective. That amounts to a year's salary for F. King Alexander, along with relocation costs. If memory serves correct, that's 40,000, 40 or 42,000 is the relocation stipend in that. Additionally to the relocation cost, F. King Alexander will also get to keep his health benefits through March of 2022. So the toll continues to mount. I want to say, help me out, Marty, the buyout for less was 1.9 million, somewhere in that ballpark, 1.9 roughly. F. King Alexander, 670,000. So ballpark figures so far, it's cost in salaries, and this is excluding, and forgive me because I cannot call this to memory instantly, the two individuals that were given suspensions at LSU. I can't remember if that was with pay or without pay. Regardless, between Les Miles and F. King Alexander, you are talking a little over 2.5 mil, 2.6 and change in salaries. That is what that is. There's no disputing that. But money aside, the two of them, if they were brutally honest with themselves and with us, they would probably tell you 2.5, 2.6 million aside, the biggest hit was to our reputations. The aw shucks, down home, good guy image that Les Miles had portrayed to so many, and I'll be the first to admit, I was one of them. I mean, the first time I saw the guy eating grass, I was like, well, he ain't from Louisiana, but I can relate to him. And like most Louisianians do, you accept people for who you think they are, unless and until they prove otherwise. There was a whole lot of goodwill riding with Les Miles from Baton Rouge to Kansas. A lot of goodwill, because a lot of people were, quite frankly, and again, I was one of them, who felt he got a raw deal the way the whole deal went down in Baton Rouge. Well, now, and you know, hindsight is always 20/20. You always get the benefit of reflecting on something, but it's sad to see it end this way. And trust me, I say end this way. The two principals involved in this, now that they have been removed from their positions of employment, for whatever reason, I continue to get that little gut twinge that we've not heard absolutely the last of this Title IX scandal yet. I hope I'm wrong. God knows I do. Because as much as I love my state, as much as I love our flagship university, the negative publicity is something that I could do without. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like going under the knife for something like cancer. While you're cutting, make sure you get it all. While you're in there, let's go ahead and make sure any and everybody that fostered this climate, took part in this climate, went out of their way to hide what was happening from the university and the public at large, cut them out, get them out. If you're going to go in and do surgery, make sure you get it all while you're in there. Just saying. Just be sure that you remove the scalpel and the forceps before you close me up. Just saying. Bottom of the hour break. Ran across an article that I got to share with you. I'll give you a heads up. There's something that almost exclusively, just a couple of very minor exceptions, there's something that all of these cities in America that are suffering from gangs and gang violence, racial hostility, rioting, looting, burning, gun crime, mass shootings, there's something that just about all of these cities have in common. I'll let you think about it. We'll talk about it next when the Clarence Bug Show continues here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masking up will slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask, wash our hands, and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up.
Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Was that thunder that I heard just now? Yeah, it's thunder boom was cranking up here in the capital city. And again, you know, we are expecting another day of inclement weather. So govern yourselves accordingly, guys, girls, and like we did earlier in the week, we will make it through this day as well. I ran across an article yesterday penned by John Nolte, and it is entitled "Hate Crimes and Mass Shootings Plague Democrat-Run Cities, Not MAGA Country." Let me share some of this with you. Mass shootings, gun violence, hate crimes, racism, violent crime, race hoaxes, dirty air, dirty water. Almost all of these terrible things happen almost exclusively in cities run by Democrats. In many cases, those cities have been run by a Democrat monopoly for decades. Sure, there are exceptions, but those rare exceptions prove the rule. Here's an example. CNN LOL claims there have been 7 mass shootings in 7 days. Well, 6 of the 7 cities where those shootings occurred are run by Democrats. The 7th has only had a Republican mayor for about 8 weeks. Before that, it was a Democrat that was in charge. He continues, whenever I read about a hate crime or a shooting or an accusation of racism or stories about poisoned water or the systemic sexual abuse of women, where the fake media tries to spin those terrible things into an American problem, I always look up where they happened. And it's almost always a Democrat-run city, a Democrat-run college campus, a Democrat-run Hollywood, or the Democrat-run media. Most of the hashtag #MeToo stuff, Democrat-run Hollywood and the Democrat-run media, not MAGA country. Most of the hate crimes, college campuses and Democrat-run cities, not MAGA country. Dirty water, mass shootings, hate crimes, an epidemic of gun violence, riots, Democrat-run cities, not MAGA country. For a total of about 15 years, I lived in LA and the inner city of Milwaukee. All the terrible things that ever happened to myself and wife happened in those places. But I've since moved out here in MAGA country, where my wife and I now live, out here in rural America, a place chock full of the very people the Democrat Party and corporate media smear as violent racists. Life is sweet and peaceful and serene and safe and clean and tolerant. How come the quality of life is so good in rural America, where the magatards live, and so unspeakably awful in cities run exclusively by Democrats? My wife is a Mexican immigrant. We lived in a small North Carolina town for a total of about 20 years. She's never had a problem race-wise here. For a few years, my next-door neighbors were black. Never had a problem. We have a fairly substantial Hispanic population. But if there's ever been a hate crime reported in my county, Google can't find it. That's because almost all of America's hate crimes occur in cities where Democrats are in charge. Out here in MAGA country, where we're slandered as being anti-environment, our water is clean, our air is clean, and so are our streets and our parks and our forests. The only place I've ever lived where the water was dirty and the air was dirty and the streets and the parks were dirty are Democrat-run cities. I was literally poisoned by the water in Milwaukee. Almost everyone I know out here in MAGA country owns guns, and I mean lots of guns. Personally, I own 9 guns. And yet, even though we're supposed to be the violent racists and guns are supposed to be the cause of gun violence, we don't have a gun problem in rural America. We don't have mass shootings. Almost all of these things happen in Democrat-run cities. When I hear about things like all these awful hate crimes against Asian Americans in San Jose, a city that has been run by a Democrat monopoly for decades, I wonder why those good Asians don't move out of those Democrat-run cities and move into MAGA country, where people of all races can walk the streets safely. Things aren't perfect out here in MAGA country. We have an opioid problem. What we don't have is all the gun and gang violence that goes with drugs in Democrat-run cities. Same is true for poverty. The poverty rate in my county is higher than the poverty rate in, for example, Democrat-run Baltimore. What we don't have is all the crime and violence that comes with poverty in Democrat-run cities. Although we proud MAGAtards are constantly attacked as intolerant, racist, violent, and as haters of the environment, out here we live together peaceably in a clean environment where everyone is safe. Let me make this simple for you. The next time the fake news media starts screaming about hate crimes, racism, be sure to look up where the alleged hate crime happened. Same with mass shootings, sexual abuse scandals, racism allegation, race hoaxes, violent crime, race riots, and all the other terrible things that happen in America. What you're going to discover is that almost every single time when it happens in America, it's in a city where Democrats are in charge. By the way, this is not a coincidence. There is something to be said about having the ability to read between the lines. There is something to be said about not allowing the media, in this particular instance, the mainstream media, to constantly feed you a line of bull. There's something to be said about being willing and having the ability to look at something for what it is. And if you doubt the authenticity of this article by Mr. Nolte, all you got to do is look around. Oakland, California, Los Angeles, run by Democrats forever. What kind of problems do they have? San Francisco, California, run by liberals forever. What kind of problems do they have? Closer to home, New Orleans, Louisiana, run by Democrats for decades. What kind of problems do they have? Kansas City, St. Louis, run by Democrats for years. What kind of problems are they having? Detroit, Michigan, run by Democrats for decades. What kind of problems are they having? Chicago, Illinois, toughest gun control laws in the nation. Does it make them the safest city in the nation? Nah. Ironically, they're the murder capital of the world. What kind of problems do they have? Do I need to continue? Newark? Do I need to continue? The list goes on and on and on and on. But the media will have you believe it's them racist, violent conservatives that's the problem. So apparently, and God bless it, my late father taught me that a man should learn something new every day. So if I apply the powers of deductive reasoning, I would come to the conclusion, my new thing that I've learned for today, racism, violence, gang violence, race hoaxes, all of this stuff apparently is a contagious disease. Because if it's just us conservatives that are supposed to be the racist, violent, gun-toting, non-law-abiding people, if we're the only ones that's doing this, then apparently y'all standing more than 6 feet closer to us and you done caught it. You done caught it. So call Joe, call Kamala, Call your elected representatives in Congress and tell them they need to develop a vaccine because these conservatives have this contagious disease that folks in Democrat-run cities have caught by the millions. If you are honest with yourself, you don't have to be honest with me. I don't care. One way or the other. If you are so stupid as to try and fool yourself, have at it. Rest assured you're not fooling me, but I understand full well that as an American, you got a right to be a moron. It's written in the Constitution somewhere in the fine print. If you have been granted American citizenship, you got a right to be a moron. If you want to, that's fine. But there are a lot of us out there that see things for what they truly are. Maybe one day, the rest of y'all will too. Keep hoping. I ain't gonna bet no money on it, but I hope nonetheless. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and we wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Buggs Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
The selection is deep, and the time to get a used car is right now from the Team Automotive Group. Shop and save on over 125 certified vehicles and choose from more than 700 pre-owned vehicles at any of our team locations. Or log on anytime at teamautouse.com.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Buggs Show. Marty, if you would you check with the truck to give me a ballpark countdown of what I'm looking for? Okay. Well, I mean, before we get to 3, 2, 1. Just saying. You know, every now and then we get confirmation of things that all of us already knew. Okay? And for most of you, this will be no earth-shaking epiphany. This is no opening of the sky revelation, but it is confirmation for what just about all of us were already aware of. I don't know how much semblance there is in the Big Easy for our friends to the west in Lafayette, in Cenla, the middle of Louisiana, Alexandria, Bunkie, Cheneyville, yada yada, blah, 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 or Monroe, Shreveport for that matter, and not to leave out our friends in Bogalusa, Covington, and the like. But just about all of us are of the opinion, my God, we should get a lot of robocalls in Baton Rouge. And after a while, it's amazing. Part of the idiosyncrasy of the human experience is you can get used to just about anything. Just depends on how often you're subjected to it, what your friends, relatives, associates, what their opinions are about it, but you can pretty much get used to anything. Well, this week, according to a new survey, and this involves whether or not it is a landline or a cell phone, it is reported that in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we receive more robocalls per person than any other city in the entire United States of America. Woohoo! We're number one, by God. We receive more robocalls, landline and cell phone, than any other city in the entire United States of America. We average in Baton Rouge 39 robocalls per resident in the month of February. Give you some context. That's more than 2.5 times the national average, according to this poll conducted by UMail. It is the bane of our existence, the freaking robocalls. But it's a reality. It's a fact of life. And if you ever find yourself in the future cussing under your breath about, who is this fool calling me? I don't recognize this number. I'm not answering this. Well, just know you're in good company. 2.5 times the national average. Crazy. Just crazy. COVID-19. Have you looked at people that you thought you knew fairly well before the lockdowns began? If you have probably noticed something about a good percentage of people that you were fairly familiar with before COVID-19 and the lockdowns. That's because, according to a new poll out, 42% of our fellow Americans picked up an unwanted 30 pounds because of the lockdowns. Aside from you having to go through the physical workout of dropping those pounds, unless you like Marty, you got the magic concoction and it just melts away. If you're not like that, here's one of the ultimate ironies of COVID-19 and those preaching the lockdowns and those preaching we have to follow the science. 42% gaining an unwanted. Had nothing to do with it. It's just, they locked us down, so, got to do what they tell us we got to do. What's ironic here? Those most adversely affected by the coronavirus are who? Those with existing comorbidities. Carrying all those extra pounds, leading you to become overweight, makes you more susceptible to the ravages of COVID-19. Now, for the record, I will give you this. Most of us didn't know prior to the lockdowns that comorbidities, being overweight, things of that nature. I got you, Marty. I see you, brother. Most of us didn't know that the effects would be magnified by comorbidities. I mean, when you think about it, it only makes common sense. If it attacks the respiratory system and you have an existing heart problem, well, guess what's going to happen? If it attacks the respiratory system and you have asthma, well, guess what's going to happen? If it attacks the respiratory system and you're huffing and puffing after 6 or 7 steps because you are morbidly obese, what do you think is probably going to happen? But we didn't have the experience to connect the dots until now. I found it interesting in this Harris poll, by the way. 3,000 people were sampled. Millennials, just numbers. I am simply a purveyor of information. 48% of millennials put on an average of 41 unwanted pounds. 48% of millennials between 25 and 42 gained an average of 41 pounds. Time to get back out in the yard, y'all. Just saying. Just saying. Time's up. Marty's waving at me. 30 seconds, bro. 30 seconds. So I still got just enough time to say, this day, just like any other, I give it to you. You're right. America, we ain't perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's still the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. Stay dry. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.